mentioned that she didn't think people were in danger, but I guess they're sending out text messages. They're getting the word out to folks who live in this area. And as you know, this is an area near the stadium that really has seen a lot of residential growth over the last couple of years. So a lot of homes are in this area, unlike a decade ago. So those folks have been told to stay away from this area. We are standing along busy M Street, very busy corridor here near the waterfront in the stadium. That's typically quite busy at this time. But police, they have shut down this entire street so the media can set up. The mayor upset about this. As we walked back to his car, you could see that he was visibly upset about this, and we believe that we're going to get some kind of briefing from him and the police chief probably in a couple of hours, even though, as you were probably recapping, the FBI has taken control of this investigation. But when you're dealing with the police chiefs, officers in this area,
we have Boston all over again, America.
Kept up to date as much as possible on all.
I'm sure that if there's anybody that's harboring these individuals, force them out of your home and into the streets.
Suspect information.
But at no means should you allow law enforcement to ransack your home.
Information there when it comes to a lookout.
Remember the Boston situation, a man was outside in his backyard having a smoke. Supposedly this guy was in a boat.
Check for video recording that happened along here, because possibly these suspects may have run.
Not one cop had help in that.
And you know, these days there are so many.
We don't need the military out there going door to door, busting in grandma's door.
Of this suspect, these suspects, I keep saying because we're not sure how many there are, but that could be a big lead if authorities are able to actually identify these people and then get those pictures out to the media and to the public at large.
Yeah, really?
Say there was some coordinated effort with Metro to look at footage in relation to maybe looking for
Here
these
we go. They're doctoring the footage just like in the Boston.
Right, Will. That's actually what I heard.
They're going to
from
scoop it all up from everybody's cell phone.
Buses and getting on there. You know, the newer buses have cameras that are not only
really two extra shooters
the inside, but sometimes when people actually get onto a bus and they shoot outside. So this person told me that they came on and they took the equipment that actually records the pictures. I guess it's some kind of cassette or maybe a hard drive. And authorities got on the bus and they took that information. Presumably, it's going back to either the police department or the FBI, so they can look at the video that was captured and possibly find someone that maybe had a gun or maybe just didn't look right, and that they can inspect all of those photos and then get them out to the public.
Hey, Matt,
and then get them out to the public? Really? Is that what happened in Boston?
I know that we have.
No, the public had to get the real photos out, and the FBI lied about the data that they acquired.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to let you know, because things are starting to happen. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton is here. Congresswoman, I think what we're going to do is do a press conference again. Congresswoman, can I talk to you just for a second? Maybe you can. Okay, Sean, she's going to step to the microphones. So all of us here in the media, I think we have a shot of that as well. So this is Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes.
Let's see what kind of lies she's been told to say about what happened there at the Navy Yard. Remember, we got one dead shooter, and they didn't say anything about their race or their creed or anything like that. But we know there's a white man and a black man in military uniforms.
Like this since 9/11 for good reasons.
Yes, we have. We've had lots of days like this since 9/11, lady. You don't know nothing.
All of those who are assisting the Metropolitan Police Department, thoughts, prayers are with those who have died, with those who are injured.
She looks scared.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m.
It's her congressional district. I bet you she is.
I will be on the floor for the moment of silence.
Oh, they already got plans for afterwards?
Asking everyone to withhold judgment about what happened here. I am very familiar with this facility. It began the revival of M Street when we were able to get the Sea Systems Command to come here. It is a very secure facility.
But they made it in.
The Navy has managed to keep it secure while it has been open to the public. In the evenings, there is an event.
Doesn't look like it to me.
That the Navy built, where events.
What was their SOP, lady?
That are sponsored by district and regional organizations. We cannot here yet, but I hope that we will reserve judgment until a thorough investigation is done. Thank you.
Do you know who the victims are, Mrs. Norton?
No, I have not. No. All I know is the number, and that number is a rise.
Do you have any idea how they got into the building?
I don't believe anyone could have gotten into this building who did not have the problem. They were within a secure building within a secure facility. That's why I'm saying we must.
So they were within a secure part of the building, in a secure part of the facility, and she has no clue how they got in. I heard that part. You might have missed it.
Congresswoman Eleanor
So these people had badges, security badges, RFID badges that allowed them through secure doors.
Soon, Sean.
And people must have known them by face.
Since 9/11, and
so it had to have been people that they knew.
Congress tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I believe we have.
They know the names of these people already. What's the name of the shooter?
I understand that with all these guns loose in society, they'll take a terrorist.
All these guns loose in society. Hear that?
To spoil the
Look out.
reputation of this rising neighborhood that is now surrounded by.
You have a military facility in there. They're supposed to have their own guns.
Will continue to thrive. I hope the system doesn't take from what has been one of the most secure facilities in Washington.
That they made it in.
One that was not closed down to the public.
So we should close all access to our government, right? We should not be able to regress you guys at all. Just go into your bunkers, lady.
Away from it because this could have been an event that had nothing to do with the federal government, and increasingly, I think that's probably.
Yeah, they were there for a robbery.
But again, I too am withholding judgment about what happened here.
3 people motivated by what? They each have their own motivation. What?
We were just listening to D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton. She went on to say that she's asking people who are watching worldwide to reserve judgment about what happened today because we simply don't know. In fact, she went on to call this particular facility.
They know exactly what happened.
She called it one
They've
of the
identified
most
all 3
secure
individuals, so they know exactly what happened.
She said, as it started to come to life, it was sort
Boston
of
all over
one
again.
of the
Let's see,
keys in revitalizing this particular neighborhood.
That they start going into apartment
buildings
buildings and
today to sort of
office buildings and ransacking your purses.
If you know Capitol Hill, then you probably know Barracks Road. That whole area has just been revitalized, and with 3,000 employees inside Building 197 alone, you can imagine how this is part of the whole revitalization of this particular area.
Indeed. Let's go back to Fox 5's Matt Ackland, who is down there live. Matt?
Yeah, Sean, I'm sorry to cut you off before, but she was walking up right behind us. And just as she was speaking, I'm going to get out of the way so you can take a look at some of the video, but you might see further down
I just got an email from
there
one of my friends on YouTube. Says we just need to tune in and drop out and stop participating in all this madness.
There were probably a lot of people that were working inside.
They learned from the 60s, guys.
Some of the buildings around there. I'm just guessing here, but maybe
let the Homeland Security eat themselves alive, because that's what it is. It wasn't the average citizen that went into this building. Yet she says we got to bar off these buildings from the average citizen, from the public. And these were Navy employees that made it inside here. They had badges to get in. RFID secured badges. That means they were programmed into their computer networks to allow them through secure doors.
It's kind of gotten a little more quiet than it has been earlier.
Sounds like you guys need to do more internal investigating rather than shutting us out.
Once in a while, you do
and then going and harassing us when you guys mess up.
The headquarters or
we know about the Boston bombers. We're working directly with the FBI for drilling purposes.
Where we are standing, right in the middle of M Street at the intersection of 3rd.
Okay, they were set up.
Where we are, we're right across the street from the Department.
They were used as patsies to have them go out and act like they're doing a bombing.
But this is where,
and these guys are supposed to be identifying that crowd. They were told they were being
we heard her mention that this is one of the most secure facilities in Washington.
And nobody's going to get hurt. Next thing you know, they're either dead or
never been down there before.
You know what happened there. And then the whole community was harassed.
What it is like when you get there, because there are
was
a lot
it
of
Boston's fault?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of security checks. It's been a couple of
Here we
years
go.
since I've been inside the Navy Yards to cover a story, but I do remember, and I believe it was after 9/11, that there are quite a few security checks that you have to go through. Just a couple of weeks, I was working with the United States Coast Guard, and they were really careful about, you know, making sure that all the security precautions are in place. And I believe the Congresswoman talked about not only being a secure facility to get into one part of the area, but she was thinking that it was maybe a second secure area within the security area. I think that's how she described it.
That's right. You need electronic badges to get through.
If you have a firearm and you're a stranger, it's going to be awfully hard for you to get in that area.
So they were no strangers.
The Congresswoman, and she was asking that we all reserve judgment.
You know, I don't fear my government. I fear my government consuming itself, because that's what's going to happen.
Chief Lanier,
when you allow this corruption, they will consume each other. Us in the general public, we can take care of ourselves, and they hate the idea of that. Okay, so they're trying to create a dependence of you on them. Okay, oh, we need cops, and that's why they go in and bust into all these. Oh, we need the cops to go ransack my home. He could be hiding underneath my refrigerator. I mean, for crying out loud, people.
Take a look to our right. Here comes,
you know, don't swallow this hook, line, and sinker. Okay, these guys aren't the real media. They're there to spin doctor this thing and show you all the metropolitan police vehicles, and you know, all there to protect them. Okay, they're not there to protect you. Remember, there's what, 12 dead?
Member of the DC Fire Department. So
okay, and many other injured.
To help with the investigation and possibly lend a hand with what's going on inside.
You know, should we actually help these guys?
Matt, for folks who are not familiar,
should we give them our cell phone footage?
Area, and you heard Congresswoman Norton say the Washington
no, because they're just going to use it to spin it the way that they want it.
The process of revitalizing that area. That place is filled with like hot, trendy restaurants, news stores.
No, yeah, we're going to talk about
really
the economic
over
area.
The years, and you've been here many years, like I have, and we've really seen a turnaround.
That's right. It can happen anywhere.
Boy, you remember this area 10 years ago, Will? Yeah, it was just warehouses, and I don't know. Some people called it kind of the seedy part of DC. But since the stadium came in, this whole area has transformed. There's a skate park within a block.
Yeah, all government-funded grants, I'm sure.
Obviously, in that stadium, restaurants popping up all over the place. Before, this was kind of a ghost town. They would come over to work. The Department of Transportation right here is brand new. That used to be further downtown. So yes,
well, all these government buildings. So it is lovely in this area, government involvement
during the workday when folks come to all of these government installations around here.
Hey, Matt, I'm just curious. We know that the investigation is ongoing, and as DC Police Chief,
so glad they're there. Really? If they weren't there, the attack probably wouldn't have happened right there in that revitalized area.
You know, the search going on, or is it just inside the walls of the Naval Yard?
Well,
I'm pro-military, so I know exactly what's going on.
The dogs out. The Department of Transportation, to my left, to your right here, they had dogs out sniffing. And then something that was that struck me were the helicopters that were flying so low. The park police.
No, these weren't terrorists like terrorists, but they don't want to say terrorist act. But multiple people involved, even one person involved. But you know what? You go argue with somebody out in public and call them the wrong thing, you can get terrorism filed against you. But a guy could walk into a Navy station, or guys, and it's not terrorism at all. No question, it's not terrorism.
They were looking for people in this area, possibly maybe the suspects that we've been hearing about. But that for the last hour hasn't been happening when it comes to the helicopters. But we do see police. There are a lot of police in this area, so no active searching going on that we see of, but possibly that is taking place further behind me.
All right.
Further behind you, possibly.
I was just going to ask you, she did say that because of where you are on M Street,
don't ask, don't tell.
Press conference to I Street, 200 I Street. How far from where you are now is that location?
Not too far away, not too far away. I'd say, what, 3 or 4 blocks away. I think it's further closer. I'm hearing, what was that, Nelson? My photographer was pointing out something. I'm not sure what that was, but not too far away, Will. It's in the area closer to the waterfront.
Right, and just to reemphasize what the chief is saying, telling residents to hunker down, stay inside, and multiple schools.
Hunker down. So now you're on lockdown.
Still on lockdown
if you're a private,
right now because they don't know where these
if you're a private citizen, you cannot walk your own street.
Right, right. So they're really concerned about the folks in this area, and it sounds as if they're doing a really good job of telling folks who live in this area that they should just be on the lookout and probably be
stay inside and be on the lookout.
to just take precautions to stay inside at this point. Joining me right now is Fox 5's Paul Wagner. Paul is going to bring you into this, so you could maybe give us some details on new things you've learned at all.
Well, just after the mayor left, Matt, and walked away, I walked up to him because there was one part of the information that they didn't share with us.